It is the 5th of February, 2026, and the number of the day is 99%. And it sounds like a high number, but we're actually talking about Sasol, this fuel and chemical giant in South Africa. It's a South African story, but its profits have basically gone up in a lot of dirty, polluted smoke, because Sasol is saying that for the half year until December, this is how much its earnings dropped, 99%. So Aakash, basically Sasol, look, and we have to moderate this because in South Africa, we don't look at earnings per share alone. The main measure of profit is headline earnings per share. They're saying that'll be down between 29 to 40%, which is still massive. But earnings per share, in this case, deals with a whole lot of write-downs because Sasol produces dirty energy, so it's written off the Secunda plant, even though the Secunda plant still continues to operate. But this... Yeah, this just says not everybody is happy with a strong rand. That's part of this story.
Yeah, but before we get to the strong rand, let's not forget that Sasol was an amazing business, coal to fuel.
Yeah.
And it happened in the time when South Africa was hit with sanctions because of apartheid. And this Sasol operation, helped fuel the country in some very difficult periods in our country's history. I also feel sorry for shareholders. And I just think that a good couple of years ago, Sasol went on a broad-based BEE scheme called Inzalo. And lots of, historically disadvantaged people were able to buy Sasol shares. And, over a period of time, those shares, have diminished in value. So whenever a share price falls, it's bad for shareholders. But yes, you're absolutely right, Francis. A strong rand is not necessarily good for everyone. And I'm sure there's other businesses that are impacted as well. Yeah,
so let's explain this. Sasol still, I think I looked at a report from last year, it had about 28,000 workers on its books. The Secunda economy is linked to what Sasol does. And some people are seeing a silver lining here because it's still making money, even at that Secunda plant. But it has to impair the plant, and basically costs there are seen as worrisome because it's got what do you call it? It's running out of time, essentially, Secunda, because we live in this world that's going green, and they are producing dirty fuel. They're trying to think of options, but it may not work. But Sasol is saying the strong rand, because then it sells its fuel in dollars, brings it back in rand, it gets less rand for what it sells. And the oil price, which has also been good for South Africa, also good for us as motorists. Again, Sasol fuel is pegged to the global oil price.
So let me pick up on this point about green energy, right? Because as much as coal may be a dirty source of power, the bottom line is it still services the mainstay of our energy fleet. That's how we generate a lot of our power in South Africa. And lots of people talk about wind turbines, for example, but the amount of fuel that you need to get a wind turbine going is also damaging to the environment. And the bottom line is that South Africa has coal and tons of it. And surely we should be able to use this to our advantage. The first world countries all developed on the back of coal-powered power stations. It's almost unfair that South Africa cannot now use the one advantage that we do have, which is coal, abundance of coal, to our economic advantage.
But what about dirty air? We had at one point dirtier air in Johannesburg than Beijing. It depends on where the wind is blowing.
You're absolutely right. But over a period of time, there's been improvements made to that. If I think about when Medupi and Kusile, our two latest coal-powered stations, were built, there was certain technology that was added to their coal stacks that made sure that the amount of toxic air that was released was greatly reduced. Absolutely. Certainly not in the league of nuclear-powered power station or even solar or wind-generated electricity, but certainly improvements.
All right, Aakash, I'm looking at Sasol's share price in response to this bad news. It's down 5%. So that's not cataclysmic. And let's be clear, because, Sasol has gone down over the last 3 years. In the last year, the share price has actually gone up. So investors are not writing off this company in any shape or form. It's a big employer and hopefully crucial to the future of South Africa. That is the number of the day.